Welcome to Rockin' Kentucky Blue, the podcast where we are serious about our Cats. Join two card-carrying Blue Rockin' members of the Big Blue Nation as they keep you up to date on the latest happenings of the University of Kentucky Wildcats. Here are your hosts, one calm member of the sports media, Michelle Mamba Brown, and one crazy fan, Jay Hayes.
Welcome to Rockin' Kentucky Blue, episode 42. Got a little less pep in my step today.
Yeah, we all do.
There's the not good news and the really, I don't know. It's been like a punch in the gut all morning. I mean, first thing I read this morning is that we lost John Schlarman.
Yeah.
And that's a tough one, man. That is
very.
Ever since he missed that Missouri game, I just had this nagging feeling.
Yeah.
And I think it's quite special that the last game that he was on the sidelines for was the win at Tennessee.
Yeah.
And then after I read that, and then actually I went back to The Athletic and I read an article that Kyle Tucker had put out a couple of months ago. And that's when, we thought, Schlarman's going to beat this thing. Doesn't matter what anybody tell him, he's beating this thing.
Yeah.
And so, of course, I cried my way all the way through reading that article. And then UK Athletics put out a video. I believe you might have a little bit of that. We can.
Yeah.
You cut it down tremendously. It was what?
Yeah. It's about a 10-minute video of the Kentucky football family, pretty much by UK Athletics over the last several months, asked players and coaches what Coach Schlarman meant to them. And, this is pretty much what they had to say. And it starts with Coach Brad White.
Coach Schlarman is the toughest individual I may have ever met. His toughness and grit and love for this university, his players, this staff, his family, you feel almost insufficient, in terms of how much you're giving at times, because there's no complaining. There's only 100% effort in everything he does. No matter if he's struggling or not, he won't let you know it. He won't ask for anything. And if you're not inspired by Coach Schlarman, then nothing's going to inspire you.
He is a fighter. He's a warrior. He doesn't back down from anything. And he's an inspiration every day, because you would never know what he's facing by how he goes about each day. And you talk about having an attitude of being grateful for every opportunity. Man, as soon as you want to start to feel sorry for yourself about a situation in a day, and you look at John, it's pretty hard to even feel sorry for yourself for half a second. That guy's an inspiration to our whole football team, our whole staff. As good as I've ever been around as a human being. And we are so grateful to have his impact.
Without question, he's been an inspiration to myself, our staff, and our team. He practices what he preaches, and that's, to keep on fighting. Hard work pays off in the end. And John certainly has no regrets, I'm sure, because he's lived a life that he's really done things the right way. He's put his wife and his family first, his faith, and, in the way he coaches and the way he teaches these young men. He's had an impact on so many people. He inspires me to want to be a better human being, to want to be a better person. and to have the strength that he has.
I don't know how you follow that up,
Yeah, it's a sad time. And what was incredible is he was going through all this and still going to work, and here we are sometimes, waking up like just maybe not even feeling like going to work, like I don't feel it today. It's just here this guy is fighting this battle, with cancer and still doing it.
Well, and if you, I will say on The Athletic, which is normally a paid subscription, you can get there today. Kyle has unlocked that one story that he wrote. And I would urge you all to go there and read it while it's unlocked, because you find out a lot of things. You hear, he's at work every day. He'd go do chemo, be hooked up to chemo for 6 hours, come back to work. What they don't tell you is that he's on the field practicing with the team, go over to the sideline, throw up, wipe his face, and get right back out there. Or he had one of his treatments that, when they started standard chemo, but he had a very aggressive form of cancer. So they said they were going to throw everything at it. And indeed they did. So they threw some experimental things at it. And one of the side effects of one of his later treatments was it caused blisters all over his feet and inside his mouth.
Yeah.
And he's out on the field. And they said could barely, walk 2 steps, but he did not. Here, man, you need to sit down. You can be out here and coach if you want to, but sit down. No, he stood up on his blistered feet. And by gosh, if that offensive line sits down at all this weekend, I feel he'll come from the grave and yank him up by the neck and smack him in the face.
Yeah. Yeah. The creator of the big blue wall. John Schlarman.
Man.
It's rough. This one hurts. I mean,
this one hurts a lot. And it's like, okay, this is life, you lose some people and it's going to happen. So, I can focus on basketball for a while, and pro day was kind of playing in the background. I mean, I was recording that. I knew I couldn't watch all of it because of the podcast, so I didn't really want to stop-start kind of thing. I just looked at a couple of minutes. Go back to check my email, and literally as I sit down, incoming message. Matthew Mitchell retires from coaching.
Yeah. Yeah. Matthew Mitchell is done for the Lady Cats.
They're no longer they haven't been Lady Cats for a long time.
That's one of those things, though, like Commonwealth Stadium.
Well, no, not really. It's different.
I'm just saying it's going to stick with me, and I'm just, it's just part of who I am.
I will say that the women don't appreciate it.
Wow, really?
Really. They're Wildcats.
They are. But they're ladies. What's wrong with that?
Because they're no longer Lady Cats. They haven't been Lady Cats for years. They were Hoops for a while to try to designate, but then that really just never stuck.
So just the Wildcats.
They're Wildcats. They're
I'm not disagreeing with that because they are. But I'm going to say Lady Cats.
Well, I think that's disrespectful since we know that.
Well, I'm not being disrespectful though. I'm not being.
You may not intend
right,
it, but I'm just saying that if they don't like it, you could at least make an effort.
So I'm talking about the Wildcats. Oh yeah, did you see BJ Boston? No, not those Wildcats. The other Wildcats.
It's very easy to say our women's team.
Okay, yeah, that's what I'll say. That our women's team.
There you go.
But the news of Matthew Mitchell is shocking.
Well, here's his statement. He said, after much conversation with my family and Mr. Barnhart, I've decided to retire from coaching and effectively have resigned as head coach at Kentucky. This was a difficult decision, and I know the timing is not ideal, but I do not feel I can give the job what it requires at this time. As has been much publicized, I've had an eventful offseason with my injury and subsequent surgery. I've been open about the fact that the surgery and recovery process has been life-altering for me and my family. And through that, my priorities towards my family and my faith has grown even larger than before, and that's led me to make this decision. Although so much about today is sad because I will greatly miss the relationships and people that have constantly lifted up my family and me the last 13 years, I am resolute in my decision and comfortable with beginning the next chapter of my life. To the current players, thank you for your support and love you've shown me not only this year, but in years past. Each one of you truly left a lasting impact on me, and I will cherish our time together. To my former players, assistant coaches, and support staff, each of you has made me a better person, and I'll always extend a listening ear and encouraging word whenever you need it. I would be remiss if I also did not thank Mr. Barnhart, Lee Todd, and Eli Capilouto for their commitment and support to women's basketball at Kentucky and giving me a chance many years ago to be a part of this great university. To the Big Blue Nation, 13 years ago, you welcomed me and my family with open arms, and Jen and I are forever grateful. Kentucky is our home. This university and community are beautifully unique and special, and we're blessed to have this place in our lives. And finally, I want to thank Kyra Elsie, Nia Butts, Amber Smith, Amy Tilley, and everyone in our current support staff for all their hard work this offseason and preseason as the program navigated uncharted waters. I believe with every ounce of my heart that the greatest place for a young woman to go to college and become a better person ready to face what society has in stores at the University of Kentucky. I am steadfast in that belief because I know the people in this program spend every second of every day focused on how to make each other's lives better. Kyra's done an amazing job leading the program these past few months. She's one of the best coaches in college basketball and has displayed that throughout her career as a top-notch tactician, elite recruiter, and most of all, she is of the highest character. I have the utmost confidence in her to lead Kentucky women's basketball into future success.
Matthew Mitchell. Well,
I covered a lot of women's games, and I'd always sit front and center at his post-game press conferences, and I never once even the first year I was covering things, I asked questions in press conferences. Never was intimidated. I mean, it took me a while to get around to ask Calipari anything because I watched him chew up reporters and spit them out, man.
Yeah, he's known for that.
Even when he asks a question and I know the answer, I'll say it just loud enough where he can hear it, but not the rest of the room. And then like, what'd you say? I'm like, oh, man.
Yeah. He's known. Cal's known to getting some people's butt.
That's a ridiculous question. That's a stupid question.
Right.
Yeah, but Matt Mitchell he would always maintain eye contact and to the best of his ability would actually answer the question you asked, which is another thing Cal's not wrong.
Right.
Cal's going to answer the question Cal wants to answer.
Right. So Kyra Elsie is stepping up, right?
Yeah. And she, like I said, very talented. And she has been so involved in the day-to-day things in it. Like she's been Mitchell's right-hand
person.
Woman. Yeah, there you go.
I will say too, why it was so shocking to me is because this is probably his best team at Kentucky.
It could be, but like I said, I get a sense from what he said. I knew he had made mention a couple of weeks ago his recovery was going slower than he had anticipated.
Right.
And his physical activities had continued to be limited.
Right.
And he's a very hands-on coach. And that's one thing. I've seen it at Media Day when they've had other media opportunities, and sometimes they've had, like when there's been media opportunities for the men's, like of course you're walking around Craft Center, you're going to odds are you might pass one of the women. And I see Mitchell, and he'd be in practice wearing his black leggings with his basketball shorts over that. But I mean, if he's going to tell you about how you got to set a screen, he's going to jump out there and physically show you how you should set a screen.
Right. And for those people listening that don't know, the coach of the women's team had brain surgery this past summer.
Yeah, he had an accident prior to that, and he had a concussion. And then after a period of time, started, I think, getting some really, really bad headaches, and turned out he had a brain bleed, and they had to go in and do brain surgery. And apparently, I mean, I don't want to say that that's routine surgery.
Yeah.
But in the land of brain surgeries, that's one of the more common, if you will.
Yeah. Right.
So I figured, 4 or 5 weeks or so, take it easy. The fact that we're 3-4 months now, and he's still that limited, it must have been a little bit more than what he let on. Which I get that. You don't want to overstate things, and then you end up recovering and like, what a crybaby. At the same time, I really just thought it was going to be one of those little simple things. And it's pretty amazing when you look at his accomplishments. He was the winningest head coach in women's basketball history, at over 300 wins.
Yeah. His
career record at UK is 303 and 133. And he had a rough year when they had a lot of transfers.
Yeah.
And some people leaving the program. And that was the year he had changed a lot of his coaching staff too, because it had LZ and he had Butts, and they had been given other opportunities, and he did not hold them back. And he had another assistant. She just didn't want to be around anymore. She just kind of left. And, somebody don't want to be around, I'd say don't let the door hit you. But he said during that time that it was probably, things had been going really, really well. I mean, I guess we were getting to the Elite Eight, like in the tournaments there, and just be like within a couple of points of making it to the Final Four. That happened like 3 different times. But he said you kind of get, I don't want to say complacent, but you kind of get in autopilot, if you will.
Yeah.
And he said he was trusting the year that he had the new staff members. He was kind of, I guess, thinking that he had the same amount of trust in them that he had in his prior staff, and things started slipping through the cracks. And then everybody started leaving, and he's like, Naya, get back here, LZ. And by the way, Amber Smith, we wouldn't mind if you showed up too.
Right. Well, Matthew Mitchell will definitely be missed. But I mean, this is it's shocking, like I said, but Kentucky is so much more than basketball. Period.
I tell you, just look at this week alone, the sports that are going, and in this limited world, and especially now we're watching things get canceled and rescheduled and delayed and postponed, and like, are you crazy for thinking about this?
Yeah.
Right now, rifle team, not that this is a surprise. They tend to do this a lot, but I think they had to climb their way up from number 3, but they're now number 1 in the country.
And they're no stranger to number 1 either, might I add.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, like, they win national championships almost like the cheerleaders do.
Right. A rifle team are snipers.
I may have told this story on here before, but the way that I first began to interact with Cameron Mills on Twitter, he had posted a thing about the rifle team defeating Army.
Yeah.
And I replied, I said, well, I don't know whether to be impressed or worried.
Right.
I mean, shouldn't the Army, don't you want them to be best at shooting rifles? I mean, that's just my.
Yeah, just saying.
But if they're really, really
Right.
good and we beat them, woohoo.
Right.
And I guess that was the same night I had written something on a personal blog, and I guess whatever, he liked my sarcasm and read an article, and then 2 days later I get a message asking to write for his website. So I always associate UK Rifle with my opportunity at Cameron Mills. Figure that one out.
Right.
You have to tell the story, or nobody would ever be able to build that bridge. The men's soccer team, number 3 in the country.
Yeah.
What? Now, it's interesting because they play in Conference USA in soccer because, well, apparently, we're the only only team in the SEC with men's soccer.
So I don't keep up with soccer. I don't know anything about soccer.
Well, this is what I know about soccer. They don't know how to keep time. They don't know how to keep time. I've just got a basic problem. Right. I mean, I know there's lots of people that love it, but I'm sorry, when you're counting up and there's 90 minutes in a match, 45 minutes and a half, each half, but 45, and then you go to 45, and you see it 45 is done. Maybe, is it not? I guess it's not, yeah. And it keeps going 46, 47, 48. And in my mind, I'm thinking left.
NASCAR. Yeah. Yeah.
People have explained it to me. It's like something happened, like the officials kind of like if they had a stoppage of play for this or that, the clock keeps running, but they try to kind of estimate how much time that they wasted dealing with whatever that was, and they tack that onto the end. Why don't you just stop the clock? Right. There's a stop button.
Right. So they're number 3. They're number 3. I mean,
yeah. So I mean, I have to get that off my chest from time to time because it's like stupid is what it is. And that's no offense to the soccer team. Y'all don't make the rules. You just play by them, and God love you for figuring out how the clock works. Love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
The women's swimming and dive team, they are number 12 in the country. I have read they've been getting some pretty big wins here lately. I had hoped we were going to see men's and women's golf crack the top 20, but they had some successes, but they did not do as well as they anticipated this fall. So we're looking for the spring. We got some some incredible golfers on both teams. So they'll come up. Women's basketball cracked the preseason polls at number 11.
Yeah. And the men's at number 10.
And everybody going to complain because number 10.
I like it.
Well, that's kind of like my philosophy. Why, when you start out top 3, I think, especially with young teams, I think that's the worst thing for them.
Yeah.
Because it's like you have rewarded them without them earning anything yet.
Right.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
You're number 10. That means they're respecting your program.
Yeah. Top 10 team.
But let's see what you can do.
Right. And it's going to change quick. Like I mentioned on Twitter, it did last year. Boom, boom, boom. I mean, we saw it happen quick.
Well, the way COVID's going right now, we might know who the champion is by Christmas. Because it might be, so many teams, you're talking about moving inside, and the more things have moved inside in the last month. Yeah. This virus has lost its ever-loving mind, and we still got idiots out there that will not wear a mask.
Yeah.
Ship them to Mars somewhere, get them off my planet, because I'm tired of dealing with the fools.
Right. I don't know if you mentioned, but volleyball team, number 2.
And big development, because Florida was playing South Carolina, I believe it was. They were up. They were just like in perfect position to win the match. They were previously undefeated in conference, and they just folded like a cheap suit.
Yeah.
And lost that match, and now Kentucky is in sole possession of first place in the SEC. We were supposed to be playing tonight and tomorrow at Mississippi State, but once again, hello, COVID.
Yeah.
They had a contact tracing issue come up with someone on UK's team, but they, assuming that comes out negative as they are hoping, they will
Right.
reschedule those matches for tomorrow and Saturday. I don't know if you told me you think volleyball is boring or something.
No, I never said that. Not ever have I said volleyball. Oh, maybe I did. Maybe I did on television, not in person. Okay. Yeah, that was me.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that was me. Yeah.
Well, they were on television last week, and they've been good for quite a few years. But
Yeah.
what I saw the other night, I mean, this is like this second time I've watched them on TV, or the second series, I should say. They had another series that was on. They do what we wish every John Calipari team did. You get up by 50, put your foot on the accelerator and see if you can make it 75.
Right.
They don't let up. They just pound and pound and pound. And they've had a couple of injuries happening in the game, not serious ones, but it'll take somebody out for a set, if not the rest of the match. And bring a freshman in. They just sit there like, okay, yeah, bam, kill, dig, kill, block. Yeah, got it. Next.
Right.
So
Wow.
so they've gotten into that thing. They're like like the basketball program with that respect. Next man up, next woman up, whoever, next player up that's wearing a volleyball uniform, come take care of business.
Right.
So
There's only 2 programs in the top 11. Baylor with men's and women's basketball.
I'm gonna say clarify. There's not.
Yeah.
You see, if there was only 2 programs in the top 11, you wouldn't have
Right.
a top 11. You'd only have a top 2.
In men's and women's basketball, there are 2 programs in the top 11. Baylor and
Oh, sorry.
Kentucky. You guessed it.
Well, we wouldn't mention it if Kentucky wasn't involved. I'm betting.
Yeah, probably not.
And another little factoid, since the women are getting some love on the show tonight, and they should, because we got some fabulous female student athletes across the board.
Yeah,
I mean, a lot of
we do.
sports. Wow. Ryan Howard. And I don't watch women's basketball. And they don't dunk. It's boring. They don't dunk. Like, a dunk is the only thing to watch in basketball. It counts 2 points. 2.
Women's basketball is great.
Ryan Howard is a freak of nature. You want to see somebody that just, I'm telling you what, she could give a bunch of the men a run for their money.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Will she be playing with a chip on her shoulder this year? Kind of got snubbed last year.
Well, she got snubbed freshman year. And how you can be the SEC Player of the Year.
Right.
Unanimous Player of the Year.
Exactly.
SEC first team, of course. And you get to the All-American and she barely cracks third team. The SEC was head and shoulders the top conference.
Yeah.
In the nation. And the Player of the Year can only scratch third team.
Weird how that happens.
Now Ryan, she handled it with a lot of grace and class. Matthew Mitchell was ticked off.
Yeah. Yes, he was.
And he'd kind of like, I'll handle this for you.
Had every right to be.
Oh, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, I think even Mitch Barnhart tweeted out a couple of things about it.
I believe you're right. Yeah.
And Mitch Barnhart generally, he's generally playing poker face.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, there's certain things, it's a subjective thing. And I would say, if she were kind of like borderline, maybe second team, third team. If she had been maybe first team, SEC, but maybe hadn't gotten player of the year or no votes for player of the year. Maybe she just eked in on the first, okay, they didn't see that. I'm sorry. She was setting scoring records.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, like I said, freak of nature to watch her play. Just
Yes.
insane. So anytime you get a chance to see UK women's basketball, and they don't get on SEC Network as much as I think they should, but they do get on the SEC Network Plus, which is the online thing that you can get through your Watch ESPN app.
Yeah.
Watch her. Not boring. Watch oh my word, watch her play.
Yes. Remember the name. Ryan Howard.
One of the things I love, well, of course, not happening this year, but one of the things I loved when the women would have games in Rupp Arena, besides the fact parking was better, and of course the food wasn't as good. But I could get coffee, and you can't get coffee at the women's game. They never have coffee for you at the women's game. Anyway, you got to sit on the floor at Rupp. You're behind the basket.
Yeah.
So I could watch Ryan Howard eye level. And as much, you can see a lot of the things going on up from the traditional media seats at Rupp. I'll give you that. But watching them eye level on the court, you get a real appreciation for how quick her hands are and some of the fake moves that she. Yeah, it's funny to kind of watch. She's up there and you see her, and you know she's heading to the left. And as soon as that defender commits to the left, she's already gone right and she scored.
Yeah.
And the defender like, huh?
She's a special talent. She's amazing to watch. And I'm excited for the women's team this year. I think they're really going to do something.
Well, I've been feeling that for 2 or 3 seasons here, so I'm hoping I'm fine. Well, like they had 3 years in a row. They had a key person that went down with injury right before the season started.
Yeah,
and that kind of
we've had smaller teams too, and SEC gotta have a bigger player. We've had scrappy teams. I'm not saying that, but you got to have a big player in the SEC.
I'm going to tell them, especially South Carolina, they bring a bunch of Goliaths in there. Mississippi State, bunch of Goliaths. Tennessee, bunch of Goliaths. And I know that because those are the teams I have seen at Rupp Arena, and I've seen them compared. I run into them in the hallway, okay? They scare me when they're not on the basketball court. They're big. They're like, oh, crap.
Right.
So, anyhow, lots to look forward to and literally, I'm seeing people that have been totally optimistic about football year, and everybody's starting to question how long basketball is going to last because, football, it's outside. Nothing's going to happen except this weekend alone. Bama and LSU, not happening.
Right.
Auburn, Mississippi State, no go. Tennessee, Texas A&M, right? Yeah, nah. But at least you get Georgia and Missouri. No, you don't get them either. We're down to Kentucky and Vanderbilt.
What do you say? What do you say on that?
when the world's like, oh man, we get Auburn, Mississippi State, Tennessee, Texas A&M, Kentucky and Vanderbilt. And it's not the Kentucky. The Vanderbilt thing drags anybody down. Anybody that was facing Vanderbilt, yeah. There's one other game still. What's the other game that didn't get canceled yet? Was it South Carolina and
I'm not for sure. So many cancellations have been going on.
There's
Not
one other
only,
SEC game this week. There's one.
right,
One other.
not only in the SEC, but other conferences canceling games as well. I think the Ohio State game got canceled, I believe.
It
Ohio State,
did.
Maryland. Yeah.
Of course. Well, if they'd let us play out of conference, we'd go out of conference and play. Yeah, that.
No.
Yeah, that fixes everything. Good plan there.
But as of right now, Kentucky and Vanderbilt are playing.
I think they're kind of a
right
50-50.
Yeah, I would go with that. But as of right now, we're headed there to play.
We're headed there. Okay.
Yeah.
Why did I think they were headed here? I don't know.
So we have football.
I guess apparently I really thought that this was a home game. Anyhow, but the interesting thing this week, and a lot of times you find out things, you find out more by what is not said than what is said. One thing, but at one point, Stoops said he's missing 3 staff members from the offense.
Yeah.
Doesn't tell you who. But then when you have a post-game practice press conference, a post-practice press conference.
Say that real fast.
I couldn't say it real slow.
Right.
They have press conferences after practice.
Yeah.
And it's the one Eddie Grant always handles.
Yeah.
And Darren Henshaw came out. Now, nobody has said Eddie Grant has COVID. And it could be he's been exposed. Because that's, you get exposed to somebody, you got to quarantine too until you can prove for a certain period of time that you didn't get it.
Yeah.
So my guess is he's been exposed because they were talking about, they think they've got it all fixed up where Eddie can call plays remotely.
Wow.
If he's not on the sidelines, I don't know. I do not know. I'm just telling you what they've said.
Yeah. Yeah. Because they're not going to release any names saying, oh, well, he has COVID. So
Tom Izzo does.
Yeah. Yeah. Or see it, because now I don't know because what if they're false positives? Because that's been
generally
happening. That's been happening.
It has been, I think, and all depending on which, like if you get that rapid test, that one is more prone to inaccurate results. I think if somebody got a positive from that, I think now, at least it's my understanding, they follow it up with the more accurate test before saying anything.
Right.
And if you get 2 different kinds of tests and they both come up positive, I think it's pretty positive, a positive.
Yeah.
Again, we don't know, but like I said, if you've been exposed, thank you, UK, for taking. I saw Aaron Torres taking shots at this contact tracing stuff. Or can we just finally say this whole thing's overblown and we could have had a real football season if people weren't being so stupid about? No, Aaron, I love you. I love you, but here's the thing: if the whole country had taken contact tracing seriously in the beginning, and people had like, okay, I'll step back till I know for sure, we wouldn't have 245,000 people dead right now. We wouldn't be talking, is basketball season going to last longer than 3 days? We wouldn't have to be talking about bubbles every stinking where. We would have had this thing well in hand a long time ago. So thank you,
Wow.
UK, for taking your contact tracing seriously, because there's a reason that we haven't had to shut down our program.
Right.
Because we take it seriously. And there's been a whole lot of other programs that have had to shut down.
You keep saying that we don't know if we're going to have a basketball season, but I told you last episode, Coach K.
I don't care what Coach K says. As soon as
Yes,
Coach
you do,
K, no, I
Coach
don't,
K
because
is the
as
head
soon
of
as
the NCAA.
as soon as Coach K gets COVID, then we'll know. But
He said, in fact, there will be an NCAA tournament.
well,
Fact.
after his whole team is out of it by December 3rd, because down in the Carolinas, they're kind of stupid.
Well, if Duke, Coach K's team is out of it, then Coach K himself will call the whole season off, because that is how it works.
He'll say the NCAA has a back injury.
Right.
But back before you jump to basketball, what you're trying to do, and it's not time. Quentin Bohanna is back this week. Thank goodness.
Yes. Yes.
I know we've got depth at our positions, but Quentin you miss him when he's out.
He's a key player.
He is, and things don't slip by him.
No.
And now for the $1 million question, which we discussed last week when we were saying bye. Stoops would not name the starting quarterback.
Yeah.
Now, I read the entire transcript of his press conference, looking for clues.
Yeah. As always.
And I found he answered it. He just didn't know he answered it. He was trying to be real sly, but if you're going to be real sly, you better choose all of your words carefully, because somebody's going to go through them with a fine-tooth comb.
Like Mamba Brown.
And when you say you want the quarterback that gives us the best chance to win, and then while you're going through other questions, you say something about, we're hoping we're going to get Gatewood and Allen as many reps as possible in practice this week. Well, you didn't say you're going to split up all the reps. You're hoping you're going to get Gatewood and Allen as many reps as possible. Why? Because you're giving all the others to Terry Wilson. He's your starter. Duh.
Yeah. I mean, but I will say that I said this last week. I told everybody who the starting quarterback would be. Remember?
Well, but I mean, you have to go and play through the week because you don't know what's going to happen. We don't know if Terry comes out and wherever his wrist, which I think he did actually. I think he had a dinger. Yeah, he did. No, you're saying no. It wasn't serious, but I'll guarantee you that there was.
What happened to Mama Knows Best?
And well, that too. That's a different thing. But I mean, I'm saying the injury is not what kept him out. But I'll say that the injury may have prompted.
Okay.
Like my hand is hurting and it's a little bit swollen over here.
Right.
And Mama's like, then you stay home, baby boy. Let them see what they're missing.
Right. I agree. I think that Terry starts.
Well, like I said, Stoops, and it's possible there's a little bit of strategy involved without naming your starter.
Yeah.
Let Vanderbilt think they can get away with whatever our offense is.
Yeah. I mean, but on the depth chart, it was Terry Wilson or
Wilson or Gatewood.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know. And all of this is just okay. Having football going on and having UK Pro Day on basketball. Well, it's a little bit late for Pro Day, but still it's on SEC Network and talking basketball rankings, and the media gave their SEC rankings. I picked Kentucky to come in second behind Tennessee. There you go. Put a chip on those boys' shoulders for sure. They have Auburn picked for 7th. Bet Bruce Pearl's really mad we got Olivier.
Yeah.
BJ Boston's already named the preseason All-SEC first team. Olivier Sarr, second team.
Which I don't get that, but okay.
Well, they saw him play in the ACC. Apparently, he was not chopped liver.
Yeah.
He played on a chopped liver team, but he was an excellent performer. He had to compete against some elite athletes.
Right.
And he did so and did so admirably. So there you go with that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I couldn't believe there wasn't more players.
Well, we haven't seen a lot of them. You know, I mean, the SEC, there's a lot of returning players that the media has seen perform in college.
Right.
And they're going to have that bias. We already know that. Keontae Johnson is preseason player of the year. I bet you're thinking Isaiah Jackson's got a chance at that title.
Possibly. I mean, and I will go ahead and say, because I've seen people tweet out, post or whatever, I can't believe Isaiah Jackson, he is going to be special. I've been saying that for a while, over a year. The kid is something else, but I mean, so is Terrence Clark. I mean, BJ Devin Askew, who, by the way, is supposed to be in high school this year. He isn't scared to shoot. He's going to let some shots go.
We have got a ridiculous amount of talent.
Yeah. Do they take some bumps early? Probably. Young team getting together, and how weird is it going to be with the COVID thing? We don't know yet. We know it's going to be weird. But I like this team. Special. And what about your guy, the Kentucky kid?
Who? Dante
Allen.
I'm telling you, he's going to see the minutes.
Cal said he's a shooter. So I'm looking forward to finally seeing him play Division I basketball. I'm looking forward to seeing this team come together like Cal does with all his teams.
Well, we've let's see, today is the 12th, so 2 weeks from yesterday, we get the first game of the Bluegrass Showcase.
Yeah.
Morehead State. I think we beat them.
Yeah.
I think it would be the most 2020 thing ever if we're honest. But no, don't see that happening. And then we have Detroit Mercy after that. Then we have the University of Richmond, the Spiders.
That one's.
I think that's a good warm-up game before we play Kansas.
What I'm saying is be careful in that game.
What I'm saying, I mean, that's an excellent warm-up because they're going to keep them on their toes.
Yeah.
That's a very talented team. And so when people, because
experienced as well.
That's the other thing. It's the experience level. And and then, of course, we've got the Champions Classic, which will be in Cleveland, I believe.
Chicago. See, I've seen two different things.
Well, I know when they canceled at Orlando, now it was the Chicago, were they going to try to have the CBS thing in Chicago? Did they just do away with CBS? Okay, it's the Sports Classic is in Cleveland. Sorry.
Okay.
See, those two, they're both.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Basketball. Kansas. We play Kansas, right?
We do. Then we get Georgia Tech. The Holiday Hoops Giving. My goodness. Everything got a name. Then we get Notre Dame.
Yeah, it's going to be at Notre Dame, right?
Well, it shows Rupp Arena. I think that became a home and home, and we play them this year, and next year we go to Notre Dame.
Could be.
Pretty sure, because if it was at Notre Dame, it would say at Notre Dame, and it's versus Notre Dame, and it says Rupp Arena at Central Bank Center.
At Central Bank Center, which is painted on the court now. So there's that.
Well, that means that when however long the season lasts, we can have our Central Bank low interest play of the week.
Yeah.
We
got to come up with some
trademark
different.
that.
Yeah, we should. And which they could have done already.
Then we get UCLA and the Sports Classic in Cleveland.
Johnny Juzang.
At the Rocket Mortgage Field House.
Johnny Juzang.
I have a feeling that Keon Brooks will tell them, don't let him score a point.
Right.
Does
Brad Calipari score?
Oh, yeah. He's
No.
Detroit. Yeah, he
No
does.
Way.
He is Detroit's offense. That's the whole thing. He will.
What?
He is.
No.
He'll get at least 15.
No.
Yeah, he will.
Just no. No, he won't.
Yeah, he will. He will. The rest of his team is going.
We'll bet on it.
The rest of his team will be like, oh, crap, we're in Rupp Arena. And they'll just keep throwing the ball to Brad because he's familiar with it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he'll get 15 points.
But yeah,
That's not like coming in and breaking it for 30 years. It's not like that kind of game. He'll get 15 points. His mama can cheer.
He won't get 5.
He'll get 15. Just shut up. Then we have to go to Louisville with their reduced capacity. And, of course, Chris Mack will cry for the rest of the year about it. Never mind the fact that that's how the schedule's been. Never mind the fact that your team sucks and I think they lost somebody else to injury, didn't they?
They did. They 2 players out now. So
yeah, never mind the fact you can't even put 5 players on the court, and you want to say it's because you don't have fans in the stands.
We're gonna
get over yourself.
Breaks off at Louisville.
Well, I mean, it's kind of like sort of what we've been doing in every sport down here lately.
Yeah, that's true.
Then we get into hot and heavy into conference play. Get South Carolina. Then we go to Mississippi State. That's assuming that Mississippi is still a state then.
Yeah.
You did hear their nonsense, didn't you?
No.
Oh, yeah. Well, with all this crap where Trump refuses to accept election results, Mississippi decided that if we weren't going to recount all the votes or name Trump the winner, whatever it was, they were going to secede from the union.
Wow. Are we still doing that?
I'm like, that was a couple of 100 years ago, but what do I know?
Wow.
But if they're still in the United States, we will go to Starkville. Then January 5th, Vandy comes to town. Then we go to Florida.
Yeah.
Then Bama comes to town. Then we go to Auburn. I think they could have done a better. Wouldn't it have made more sense? Like, you got Auburn and Alabama, so you get 2 opponents that they have in common. And then you all go to one place and stay there for a week, and every other day, like we play Alabama, we play Auburn, we play the third team. They rotate to, everybody goes home for a week. They don't play anybody. Kind of their quarantine,
Testing. Yeah.
It would have made so much more sense to have little mini pods.
That's the point, though. It makes too much sense.
Apparently.
But yeah, I get it. That would be perfect.
And we could have, I think, made it through. If every conference had done kind of the same thing, I think everybody could have made it through the majority of a basketball. Yeah. If you did that for 6 weeks, you'd have at least enough games to constitute a full season.
Yeah.
We'd have 20 games in. You could call that a season.
Right.
I'm hoping we get 15 in.
Yeah. They also have that makeup week set in the schedule there. But once again, back to Coach K. It's going to happen.
Then Texas will be coming to Rupp for the Big 12 Challenge.
Yeah.
Then we got to go to Missouri. Then Tennessee comes to town. Arkansas comes to town. Auburn comes to town. Hope they leave all their little COVID germs behind. And then we go to Vanderbilt, and then we go to Tennessee. I mean, like, the teams we played twice, they should have just stayed put.
Yeah.
We'll play you twice here this year, and we'll play you twice there next year, whatever. They could have done it differently. Do you know, after we finish up with A&M, Florida, and our last game is at, again, assuming Mississippi is still a state.
Right. Wow.
But after, let me see, I'm trying to find this date here. You know, after November 30th, we got nothing but Power 5 teams.
Yeah.
Do we have the most difficult schedule in college basketball?
No, we don't. Well, we have a tough schedule.
Who's got the toughest?
I would say Notre Dame. Notre Dame probably has the toughest schedule. They play everybody.
Well, you know, if they had the balls to commit to.
Right, but they do. If you get a chance, go look at Notre Dame's basketball schedule. Man, they got a tough one. There's several schools that have tough schedules, but Notre Dame certainly has a very tough schedule. Kentucky has a tough schedule. I like it. I like tough schedules. I mean, that makes you better.
Well, yeah, because you don't have
tournament.
to play it.
I'm just saying it makes your team, even if you take a loss, we don't lose, we learn. Right? I mean, that's the theory. That's the theory that you're working for the tournament to learn, you know, before you get there, because it's won and you're gone. So that's when Cal gets his teams together at the end of the year.
When's he going to get his hair together is my question.
He don't. Did you see my tweet? He's got a mob mullet.
I cannot believe that Ellen has let this go on for so long.
I don't know, man.
He can afford to pay.
Maybe
a
Ellen
barber.
likes it.
I don't. Ellen's hair looks better than his. She's kept hers trimmed up. I'm just saying, he makes enough money. He can pay a barber to be in quarantine for 2 weeks.
Maybe this is the new Cal.
Well, let's go.
Mullet.
No, let's go back to the old Cal who had a sense of what a haircut looks like. Because
that's your opinion.
No, there's a lot of people.
He might want to, do his mullet, mullet thing. I mean, just saying.
I don't think so. I mean, no. I don't see him still scruffy bearding it.
No.
So you see, I don't think he wants his hair like that either.
I think it comes off before we start. Maybe this week. So
I'd say Ellen saw the back of it on TV and she took a screenshot and there's look, roommate.
You would have thought that he would get a haircut before SEC network television time for NBA Pro Day.
Well, he probably wasn't expecting the back of his head to be showcased.
Yeah, true.
I'm just saying. Anyway, so of all this craziness, sitting here talking about basketball preseason, and we're talking about football and the limited volleyball season, all these little things. And the Masters is going on. I'm sorry, the Masters happens in April. And I cannot get my mind wrapped around the Masters happening. It's the first major of the year. Now it's the last. It should be April. It's November. But the weather down there is about the same as it is in April, which is interesting because they had tee times delayed by 3 hours today because of showers and whatever. But Tiger was playing good. Defending champion this year.
Right. You'll have to tell me all about it because no, I can't. It's just horrible to watch.
It's not not the Masters is not horrible to watch.
I can't make myself watch it. It's like NASCAR.
No, it's not like NASCAR.
It's so boring.
It is not, especially the Masters, especially when you get to Amen Corner. Those 3 holes, 11, 12, 13, which can change the entire golf tournament.
I mean, if they had commentators that was like, oh, but it's Tiger steps up for the line.
That's because they're on the course and you can't be yelling, because you're right there.
He now putts for these steps.
No, he's no, you're just
horrible.
You're just an idiot. You're just an idiot.
Wow.
No, you are.
And then NASCAR has left. It's no, I just can't. But I know that you're a big golfer, so I'll at least I have you to tell me what's going on because I won't be tuned into that.
Well, you hear about Jay Hayes and his commitment to sports. Not there, people.
Sports.
And it is.
You have your opinion, and I have mine. Agree to disagree.
Oh, no, you're just wrong.
Right.
You're not.
Where are the cards at tonight? I haven't saw the first card.
When you talk about golf, you are
mistaken.
You are
not right.
Gotta get this one.
A total nutcase.
And just quite simply put,
wrong.
There you go.
Like
I was
said,
off my game. It's not been a good day.
Yeah, I know. It has been a rough one.
Our thoughts and prayers definitely they go out to John Schlarman's wife, his 3 sons and daughter.
Yes.
Especially when you're getting in this close to the holidays, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I can't help but wonder. I mean, I know that Mitchell would not have done all this like so much on a whim, but I can't help but think you wake up and you find out Schlarman's gone and you've got this little tipping point. And is that the tipping point?
Yeah.
You know, I could go. He's made plenty of money as a coach. He doesn't need.
Right.
But you cannot replace the times, especially his little girls are so young.
Yeah.
I kind of like, good for you, coach.
Yeah. Yeah. Thoughts and prayers going out to both Matthew Mitchell and John Schlarman's family. So.
And by the way, if the Titans don't play next Thursday, which they shouldn't, I don't think they get 2 Thursday night footballs in a row. If they don't, I bet we could get Kyle Tucker to come join us. He would be a great one to preview the basketball season.
Yeah, for sure. He knows his stuff. But real quick before we wrap it up, the end because we're past the end of the show. You didn't get a prediction for Kentucky football playing Vanderbilt this weekend. Let me start.
I'm off my game.
Let me start real quick right here. Do we play this weekend?
We'll know tomorrow one way or the other. The fact that they have not yet called it, I was thinking if it was going to be a no-go, we would have heard today.
Yeah.
So I say there's a 75% chance we actually make it, unless something happens at Vandy.
And that's
We
the thing. That's
can't
the thing.
control them.
What happens there, right? So I'm going to say yes, we do play. I'm going to say Terry Wilson is the starting quarterback.
Well, I already told you that.
Okay.
That's not like a prediction because we've already both said it.
Because Michelle Mamba Brown did her investigation.
Like, what are you saying by not saying anything?
Right.
And if you want to know who gives you the best chance for winning, the answer is always Terry Wilson. He is a dual threat.
Yes.
Period. If you have receivers that can catch the ball. Somebody suggests, why don't we have our running backs go out for passes? How about let our receivers practice receiving?
Right. I mean, that is true, but I do want to see Rose catch some balls out of the backfield.
Well, I'm sure, but I mean, my whole point being, if you were saying, why don't you use the running backs for receivers, are you going to let them practice?
Right.
You won't let the receivers practice receiving. Are you going to let a running back practice receiving?
Right.
Who knows?
Right.
Anyway, so we already know that we both said that Terry's going to be the starter.
Yes.
So we're even on that. Now, what's your prediction?
My prediction is I'm going to say 35-10. Kentucky, of course.
Yeah, well, yeah, I know, but
Yeah, damn, did you get choked up over my prediction? And why would you? What's wrong?
That's a lot of points for an offense that hadn't been able to put up but like 6 points, and
we were just off for a bye week. We see a difference here, and we're playing Vanderbilt.
Okay, is that the wildness, that the extent of the wildness of your prediction?
This offensive
of the 35
line,
of the 35
our
points
offensive line is going
of the
to be,
35 points. How many do the offense actually score?
I'm going to say they score most of them. I'm going to say the defense scores 1 touchdown.
Okay. While I firmly believe our offensive line will be fired up,
Oh, yeah.
I firmly believe our receivers are still not going to catch balls they should catch. I should be a little bit more conservative, and I say 27-7. AJ Rose breaks one big run, 50-plus yards.
I like it.
At least one 50-yard run. Have to write it down.
Boss man fat interception.
Is that a prediction you're making?
Yes. And then another prediction for next week. Kentucky goes to Alabama and does the unthinkable, the most 2020 thing.
I think Nick. Do you know? Oh, score a touchdown. I thought you were going to say
hey, you already know that I'm picking Kentucky to win that game. You already know.
Because the last time we went down to Bama, we had the lead at the end of the first quarter.
Yeah. What was it? 3-0?
7. We had a touchdown. So, that's not the most 2020 thing ever to score a touchdown at Bama. But
no, I'm saying we beat Bama.
If there was anything that could push Nick Saban into retirement, it would be Kentucky coming down to Alabama and beating Alabama. If that were to happen, I predict Saban's retirement.
Oh.
That's imminent. Yeah.
Right.
He won't be able to take it.
So, yeah. So, there we have it. 27-7.
27-7.
And I'm going to say 35-10.
I think the offensive line will do great. I also think that it may start out a little slow because they might be a little overly emotional.
Right.
And sometimes that can
That's
work
true.
against you.
Yeah.
So they might start out a little slower. Don't lose the faith, people.
Right.
Like you always do.
Right. That's
Ugh.
true.
One bad series. Well, they just need to fire Stoops.
Yeah. And hopefully there won't be any commentating that's the Masters.
Oh, the
Terry
Masters.
Wilson. Terry,
No, you
Terry
don't listen
Wilson
to it
just-
because they will talk. You can't do that on the golf course. You cannot do that loud. You can't. If it's me playing, have at it. It doesn't bother me. And the people that get all whacked out over, you got to be quiet. Because there's just one lady I play with. And I mean, like, I'm not kidding you. If you're standing within 15 feet of her, she'll turn around and. And I'm like, I'm not moving. I'm nowhere near you. Well, I think you need to learn not to stand so close.
Wow.
That's my thought. I'm more like how it was when they had the Ryder Cup here, and Ricky Fowler's like, woohoo, y'all, whoop it up,
Yeah.
That was fun.
Happy Gilmore.
And my thing is, especially our golf course, because there's more than one. There's like 4 holes where you're either on the green or you're on the tee box. And it's parallel with a highway. And we're across from the National Guard, which of course has airport. Well, there's the little private Frankfurt airports. On any given day, when we're playing league play, if you come up to the second tee or the 13th green or the entire 16th hole, the odds are, as a matter of fact, if it does not happen that you have at least one fire truck or ambulance go by, somebody that just goes by hitting their horn going, 4, like they don't even understand what it is, and then a helicopter coming through, and then sometimes you hear them when they're shooting, they're having the range practice or whatever, so you hear the little bomb things kind of going off in the distance. If you have a day where at least one of those hasn't happened, you're looking over your shoulder the whole freaking day, because
there
are planes that come in to land at that airport, and sometimes they come down over that. They're going over the 17th green. I swear I can see spinach in the pilot's teeth. They're that low.
Wow.
So if the noise, as long as you don't start the noise right in the middle of my backswing, if the noise is ongoing, sit back there and sing Bohemian Rhapsody. That does not bother me.
Michelle Mamba Bryant stepped up to the putt. She's going to make this.
Go ahead, talk louder. If you're going to talk about me, talk louder. I hear you whispering. Keep right on.
Right.
Speaking of keeping right on, I'd say, we're about ready to head into I think, a possible 2 to 4 week period where I know they're already saying if you're in the red counties, do this anyway. It's not a mandate, but they're edging closer to it. Don't go out if you don't have to.
Right.
If going to restaurants, I'm all about support the restaurants. Please do curbside pickup or carry out. One thing that's in common about a lot of the people that have been fairly diligent, that wear their masks, that do don't go into gatherings and don't do this, don't do that. I know 6 people done all those things. They all ended up COVID positive. And they all have one thing in common. They decided, I think I'll have a meal inside the restaurant.
Yeah.
And that's simply because people can, you're seated, but then you don't have to have your mask on while you eat and drink, obviously.
Yeah.
So I don't want to harm the restaurant industry. Order takeout 3 times a day. Whatever. If you want to spend your money that way, have at it. Don't go to any gatherings. I know it sucks if you can't have your whole family together for Thanksgiving unless you got a family like mine that is so small that doesn't go anywhere anyway. So all 4 of us, that big gathering that we have every 6 weeks, That's Thanksgiving. Don't do the 25 person everybody in the hand. Just don't do it. Because then we can't say wherever we go and whatever we do.
We're always rocking Kentucky Blue.
Thanks for listening to the Rockin' Kentucky Blue podcast. You can find us on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, Spotify, Radio Public, or wherever you get your podcasts. Be sure to stop by and leave us a rating and review. And tune in next time for another episode of Rockin' Kentucky Blue.